today's framework is the aligned choices triangle or the success alignment triangles. So there are a couple of triangles within this. I'm going to talk through all three, and it might be that one of the triangles resonates with you more. I actually use all three, which is why I'm going to share all three with you. We often, when we're making decisions, we use benefits and risks, we use pros and we use cons, and we look at different ways to make the decision. I find that the alignment triangles can really help us to think through things from different perspectives. So, as I mentioned, there are three triangles. So, the first one is your values triangle. Now, it's really important that we have a very clear idea of what our core values are. Now, you've probably got a good idea of what your values are. You probably talk about them in some way. Having a very clear idea of what your top three values are means that you are able to consciously be aware that and check that the decisions that you make align with your values. So if you draw a triangle, and on that triangle, you want to put your three values, your three top values in each of those corners. So mine are positivity, making a difference, and continuous improvement. So I'm putting my three values on that point in the triangle. Okay. The second triangle is your priorities triangle. Now, your values triangle tends to be the same. You might find that different words resonate with you at different periods of your life, but quite often under an umbrella, they will be similar, or they will have a similar meaning or a similar purpose that sits behind them. Sometimes when we have life-changing circumstances, it can change, but for a lot of us, our core values tend to stay the same throughout life. Now, the second triangle is our priorities triangle. Now, this will change. And so we need to make sure that we are looking at this triangle on a regular basis. Now, I would recommend, especially as business owners, because we look at things quarterly, I would probably make sure that you check this triangle every quarter to see what's changing. You might even want to check it monthly. So with your priorities triangle, you are determining what your three priorities are at this moment in time. So it might be health, it might be work. So say, for example, you're new to your business, or you want to put lots of energy and effort into your business over this next period of time. So it might be that your work is your priority. So it might be health, it might be work, it might be maybe rest is your priority. You know what is a priority for you right now. It might be work, it might be family, it might be rest, it might be activity, it might be sleep, it might be nutrition. Only you know only what's important is that you know what your three priorities are. So again, you draw a triangle and you write the three priorities in each corner of that triangle. Now, this can really help outside of just in general in life. And it can also help when we're helping other people to make a decision. So I used this triangle, the priorities triangle, with my son last year when he was making a decision about playing overseas basketball. So he had the opportunity or two opportunities on the table, two different teams. So both looked really good. Here on the offer on the table was really good, but he needed to make a decision. I definitely couldn't make that decision for him. I also didn't want to influence that decision. So what I got him to do was to draw that triangle and got him to write down the three most important things for him that would make it successful. So what are his priorities when he is playing basketball, when he's choosing a team, when he's choosing what country to play in, what becomes important to him? Is it the coach and the coach's ethos and principles and the way the coach works? Is it the success of the team? Does it need to be a high league, successful team? Is it the team itself and who is on that team? Is it the location where the team plays? Is it the off-court stuff? So like the accommodation and the type of place that he would also be living in, or maybe it's income. So what I asked him to do, sent him away, because it needed to be his decision. I wasn't going to be living overseas for 9 months. He needed to make that decision. So I got him to go through the triangle and look at what were the three most important things for him in making that decision. So we can do this with priorities, and we can map in, and this can be life. This can be our professional life. It can be our personal life. We could do this for our business as well. Now, for those of you in business, there's a third triangle. So in business, often we need to align the work that we take with our passion, our purpose, and profit. Now, the ideal job as a business owner aligns with our purpose or has a purpose. So it might not be the job that we want, but it helps us to get a foot in the door, or it helps us to have that credibility, or it helps us to open up the doors for further opportunities. Ideally, we want it to align with our passion. So we want it to be something that is really important to us. And we also want profit, because that's what makes a successful business. Now, the ideal job has all three. We get paid well for it. It aligns with our passion, and it has that sense of purpose, or it has a purpose to it. Now, ideally, we want all three. The realities of it are, we're going to probably be looking for two. And if it really only ticks one corner, then we are probably not going to take that. Although most of us know that in those early days, we don't always have as much flexibility around that choice because we need the income. But we're certainly not going to take something that probably ticks only passion or purpose, because we need the profit, might be the priority. But again, that's where that second triangle comes into play. So we certainly, those of us that are business owners, we're going to have three triangles. So we want to make sure we are very clear on what the 3 points in each of those three triangles are. And I would recommend that you have those three triangles drawn out and have them somewhere where you can see them, because you want them where you can see them, because it's going to help you to remember, bring into the conscious, be aware that these are the things you want to take into consideration when you're making a decision. Now, ideally, what we want to do is make sure that with the decisions that we make, we are checking it against the 3 points of the triangle, and ideally have at least 2, if not 3 points of the triangle aligned. So that's how it works. So here are just a few tips that will help you with using these triangles. And this will work for all three of the triangles that I've talked through. So the first thing to do is make sure you are really clear on what those 3 points are. Now, that doesn't mean that other things are not important. It just means that you have determined what the 3 most important things are. So before you can use the triangles, you need to know what sits in each corner. You need to ask yourself, what matters most to me? Not what matters to other people, not what's important to other people, not what does society say is important. What matters most to you? Write it down in each corner of the triangle and put it somewhere where you can see it, so that you are always reminded of what's most important, because then we can check that we are living and working in alignment with what matters to us most. And that is incredibly important. Second tip, use it to evaluate both the big and the small decisions. So whenever a decision comes up, you can filter it through your triangles. So you want to be asking yourself, does it honor all 3 values? And if it doesn't, can I change it? Can I influence it? Can I do anything differently so that it does? And if it doesn't, what's the decision that I'm making? The more aligned the decision is, the more sustainable the decision is going to be. We cannot live out of alignment without it impacting our health, without it impacting our well-being, without it having an impact. So this is what I talk about when I talk about the success that is aligned. It's success that feels as good as it looks. And aligned success does that. When success looks really good, but it doesn't align with what's most important to us, that's when it doesn't feel good. That also means it's not sustainable. And it also means that it's high risk of impacting our health, our well-being, our relationships, the success of our business, the success of how we see life. So use it to evaluate both the big and the small decisions. Tip number 3, spot the misalignments early. If you feel stuck, if you feel resentful, If you feel overwhelmed, there's going to be a clash. So use the triangles to explore where that friction might be. What's not in alignment? What's being compromised? And back to the question from number 2, what can I change? What can I influence? How can I bring it into alignment? So often, people think they need to make really big decisions to get unstuck or to align things, whereas actually sometimes it can be quite a small thing that brings things back into alignment. So have a look for that misalignment early, spot the misalignment early so that you can do something about it. Tip number 4, whether you're a business owner or a team leader, encourage others to use their values in decision making too. So values, priorities, help other people to use the triangles to help with their decision making. So as I mentioned, this works with our young people as well. It helps us to teach our young people how to make those decisions, how to become a confident decision maker and make the decisions that align with what matters most to them. Because let's face it, as a parent, we're going to have the things that are most important to us. It's not always going to be the same as our young people. And our young people have to understand what's important to them and make decisions that align with that. We can offer support and guidance, but part of the tools of what we help them to learn as a parent is how to do that for themselves. So whether this is, whether you are a business owner and have staff, whether you are a team leader, you're in leadership and you have a team, or whether you use this as a parenting tool, help other people to learn how to make decisions that align with what's most important to them, what's most important to your team, what's most important to the business. This builds trust, builds consistency, it builds the clarity for those around you, but it's also very empowering. It's helping people to make those decisions for themselves. And my 5th and final point is let it guide your calendar too. So we need, and I know that you will have heard me say this before if you've been following content for a while, we need to make sure that the structure, the schedule, our routine supports and enables what is most important. It needs to protect and preserve the things that we have determined are most important, our priorities, our values. So we need to make sure that what is in the points of these 3 triangles is also protected and preserved within our calendars. So don't just use the triangle for decision making, use it for how you spend your time. Ask yourself, does your schedule reflect your values? Does your schedule protect your priorities? Does it all align? And if not, you can use the triangles to redesign your week with intention. So it's much more intentional, much more with purpose. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. What's one decision that you are sitting on right now? And how could you use those triangles to guide you to make a decision that aligns with what's most important to you? I will leave that with you to think about. You're very welcome to pop your thoughts in the comment section. I'd love to hear them. But certainly I'm going to leave that with you to think through.